Section XX. TETSAVVEH. And thou shalt instruct the sons of Israel to bring the pure olive oil, beaten, for illumination, that the lamps may burn continually, in the tabernacle of the covenant. Without the veil that is before the testimony, Aaron and his sons shall set it in order from evening until morning before the Lord, an everlasting statute to your generations of the house of Israel. 28. And thou bring near to thee Aaron thy brother and his sons with him from among the sons of Israel to minister before me. Aaron, Nadab, and Abihu, Eleazar and Ithamar the sons of Aaron. And thou shalt make garments of holiness for Aaron thy brother, for glory and for praise. And thou shalt speak with all who are wise of heart, and whom I have filled with the spirit of wisdom, that they make the vestments of Aaron to consecrate him to minister before me. And these are the vestments they shall make: the breastplate and ephod, and the robe, and the embroidered tunics, the mitres and girdles, and they shall make the holy garments for Aaron thy brother, and for his sons, to minister before me. And they shall take from the treasures gold, and hyacinth, and purple, and crimson, and fine linen. And they shall mail the ephod of hyacinth, and purple, and crimson, and fine linen twined, the work of the artificer. 2 shoulder pieces shall it have conjoined to its 2 sides, and so it shall be united. And the ornamented girdle which is to be upon it shall be of the same work, of gold, hyacinth, purple, and crimson, and fine twined linen shall it be. And thou shalt take 2 gems of onyx, and engrave upon them the names of the sons of Israel. 6 of their names shall be engraven upon 1 gem, and the 6 remaining names upon the 2nd gem. They shall be set in the order of the nativity. The engraved gems shall be the work of the artificer, engraven. And the engraving be distinct as the engraving of a ring. Thou shalt engrave the 2 gems according to the names of the sons of Israel in the work round about, inset in gold shalt thou make them. And thou shalt fix the 2 gems upon the shoulders of the ephod, to be set for a memorial of righteousness for the sons of Israel. And Aaron shall bear the names of the sons of Israel upon his 2 shoulders for a memorial. And thou shalt make the sockets of gold, and 2 chains of pure gold measured shalt thou make them, of twisted work, and insert the twisted chains in the sockets. Jerusalem. Chains. And thou shalt make the breastplate of judgment, by which are made known the judgments that are hidden from the judges, and the order of the victories of the battles, and amends that are made for the judges, the work of the artificer as the work of the ephod. Thou shalt make it of gold, hyacinth, and purple, and crimson, and fine linen twined. Thou shalt make it. Square shall it be, doubled, a span its length, and a span its breadth. Jerusalem. A hand's breadth. And thou shalt fill it with the fullness of precious stones. 4 rows of precious gems, answering to the 4 regions of the world. The first row, carnelian, topaz, carbuncle, and on them shall be engraven and expressed the names of the tribes Reuben, Simeon, and Levi. Jerusalem. And thou shalt fill it with a filling of stones. 4 rows of precious stone, the first row, carnelian, and topaz, and carbuncle, written with expression upon it, shall be the name of the 3 tribes, Reuben, Simeon, Levi, and the name of the second row, smaragd, and sapphire, and chalcedony, and upon them shall be engraven and expressed the names of the 3 tribes, Jehudah, Dan, and Naphtali. And the name of the third row, ligure, and agate, and amethyst, and upon them shall be written and expressed the names of 3 tribes, Gad, and Asher, and Issachar. And the name of the 4th row, chrysolite, onyx, and jasper, and upon them shall be written and expressed the names of 3 tribes, Zebulun, Joseph, and Benjamin. Set in gold shall they be, in the completeness. Jerusalem. And the 2nd row, carbuncle, and sapphire, and amethyst, in writing expressed upon them the name of the 3 tribes, Jehudah, Issachar, and Zebulun. And 3rd row, ligure, and beryl, and smaragd, written expressly upon them shall be the name of the 3 tribes, Dan, Naphtali, and Gad. And the 4th row, chrysolite, bdellium, amargillite. 1. Written expressly upon them shall be the name of the 3 tribes, Asher, Joseph, and Benjamin. Socketed in gold shall they be, in the completeness. And the jewels shall be taken according to the names of the sons of Israel. 12 they according to the names, engraven and set forth as the engraving of a ring, the gem of each man according to his name. So shall they be for the 12 tribes. And thou shalt make upon the breastplate measured chains of twisted work of pure gold. And shalt make upon the breastplate 2 rings of pure gold, and put the 2 rings upon the 2 sides of the breastplate. And thou shalt put the 2 golden chains upon the 2 rings in the sides of the breastplate. And the 2 chains which are upon the 2 sides thou shalt put upon the 2 sockets, and set on the shoulders of the ephod against its front. And thou shalt make 2 golden rings, and fix them upon the 2 sides of the breastplate, in the border of it which is on the edge of the ephod inwardly. And thou shalt make, likewise, 2 golden chains, and fix them upon the 2 shoulders of the ephod beneath, towards its front, towards the place of its conjoinment above the girdle of the ephod, and they shall unite the breastplate with its rings to the rings of the ephod, with twined ribbon of hyacinth, to be joined upon the girdle of the ephod, that the breastplate may not be removed from the ephod. And Aaron shall bear the names of the sons of Israel upon his heart what time he entereth into the sanctuary for a good memorial before the Lord continually. And thou shalt put upon the breastplate of judgment the Uriah, which illuminate the words, and manifest the hidden things of the house of Israel, and the 2 Maya, which fulfill, or perfect, the work to the high priest, who seeketh instruction by them before the Lord, because in them is engraven and expressed the great and holy name by which were created the 310 worlds, and which was engraven and expressed in the foundation stone wherewith the Lord of the world sealed up the mouth of the great deep at the beginning. Whosoever remembereth that holy name in the hour of necessity shall be delivered. And they shall be upon Aaron's heart in the time that he entereth before the Lord, and Aaron shall bear the judgment of the sons of Israel before the Lord continually. And thou shalt make the mantle robe, ain-ingla, of the ephod, of twined thread of hyacinth, and an orifice shall be in the middle of its upper part, a border shall be upon its opening round about its orifice. The work of the sewer, as the orifice of a coat of mail it shall be, that it may not be rent. Jerusalem. And an orifice shall be in the middle of its head, a border shall surround the orifice. The work of the sewer, like the opening of a coat of mail shall it be, that it be not torn. And thou shalt make upon the hem of it pomegranates of hyacinth, and purple, and crimson, upon its hem round about, and bells of gold among them round about. A golden bell, and a pomegranate of hyacinth and crimson, a golden bell, and a pomegranate of hyacinth and crimson upon the border of the robe round about, the number 70. And it shall be a vestment upon Aaron to minister. And its voice shall be heard at the time that he hath entered the holy place before the Lord, and at the time that he cometh out, that he die not by the flaming fire. And thou shalt make a plate or crown of pure gold, and engrave upon it with distinct engraving, holiness to the Lord. And thou shalt put it on a twined ribbon of hyacinth, to make amends for boldness of face, and it shall be on the mitre above the tefillin of the head, in front of the mitre shall it be. And it shall be in the front of Aaron's forehead, from time to time as it comes, and Aaron shall bear the iniquity of the consecrated things which the sons of Israel may consecrate, even of all the sacred gifts in which they have been insincere. And it shall be upon the front continually, for the reconciliation before the Lord. And thou shalt weave the tunic of fine linen to expiate for the shedding of innocent blood, and shalt make the tiara of fine linen to expiate for the pride of the thoughts, and the girdle shalt thou make of the work of the embroiderer. And for the sons of Aaron thou shalt make tunics, and girdles, and mitres, for glory and for praise. And with them thou shalt invest Aaron thy brother, and his sons with him, and anoint them, that they may offer their oblations, and sanctify them to minister before me. And thou shalt make for them undergarments of fine linen to cover the flesh of the shame, for the girt of the girdle of the loins, and to the thighs they shall be. Jerusalem. Drawers of fine linen. And they shall be upon Aaron and upon his sons at the time when they enter the tabernacle of testimony, or when they approach the altar to minister in the sanctuary, that they may not receive the punishment of flaming fire. This is an everlasting statute for him and for his sons after him. 29. And this is the thing that thou shalt do to them to sanctify them, that they may serve before me. Take 1 bullock, the young of a bullock, without spot, and 2 rams, unblemished, perfect, and unleavened bread, and unleavened cakes mingled with olive oil, and wafers of unleavened bread anointed with olive oil, and with flour of wheat shalt thou make them. And thou shalt put them upon 1 basket, and offer them in the basket, and the bullock and the 2 rams they shall bring in a vehicle. And Aaron and his 2 sons thou shalt bring near to the door of the tabernacle of testimony, and wash them in 4 measures of living water. And thou shalt take the vestments, and clothe Aaron with the tunic, and the robe of the ephod, and the breastplate, and gird him, or ordain him with the girdle of the ephod. And thou shalt set the mitre on his head, and put the diadem upon which is engraven the name of holiness upon the mitre. And thou shalt take the anointing oil, and pour it upon his head, and anoint him. And thou shalt bring his sons near, and dress them in the tunics, and in dew ordain them with the girdles, Aaron and his sons, and wrap on them the mitres, and the priesthood shall be theirs by an everlasting statute. And thou shalt offer the oblation of Aaron, and the oblation of his sons. And thou shalt bring the bullock before the tabernacle of ordinance. And Aaron and his sons shall lay the hands upon the head of the bullock. And thou shalt kill the bullock before the door of the tabernacle of ordinance, and take of the blood of the bullock, and put it on the horns of the altar with thy finger, and all the remaining blood thou shalt pour out at the foot of the altar. And thou shalt take all the fat that covereth the inwards, and what remaineth upon the caul of the liver, and the 2 kidneys, and the fat which is upon them, and set them in order upon the altar. And the flesh of the bullock, and his skin, and his dung, thou shalt burn with fire without the camp, it is a sin offering. And the 1 ram thou shalt take, and Aaron and his sons shall lay the hands on the head of the ram. And thou shalt kill the ram, and take his blood, and sprinkle on the altar round about. And the ram shalt thou divide according to his members, dividings, and wash his inwards and his legs, and set them in order upon his members, and upon his head. Jerusalem. And the ram thou shalt divide according to his divisions, and shalt cleanse his inwards and his legs, and lay them upon his divided parts, upon his head. And thou shalt offer the whole ram upon the altar. It is a holocaust before the Lord, to be accepted with favor, an oblation it is before the Lord. And thou shalt take the 2nd ram, and Aaron and his sons shall lay the hands upon the head of the ram. And thou shalt kill the ram, and take of his blood, and put upon the tip, 2, of Aaron's right ear, and upon the tip of the right ear of his sons, and upon the thumb of the right hands, and upon the toe of the right feet, and pour the rest of the blood upon the altar round about. And thou shalt take of the blood which is upon the altar, and of the anointing oil, and drop it upon Aaron, and upon his vestments, and on his sons vestments with him. And thou shalt take of the ram, the fat and the tail, and the fat that covereth the inwards, and which remaineth upon the caul of the liver, and the 2 kidneys, and the fat that is upon them, and the right shoulder. For it is the ram of the oblation, and 1 round of bread, and 1 cake of bread mingled with oil, and 1 wafer from the basket of unleavened bread which is before the Lord. And thou shalt put all upon the hands of Aaron and upon the hands of his sons, and shalt uplift them for an elevation before the Lord. And thou shalt take them from the hands, and set them in order upon the altar upon the burnt offering, to be received with acceptance before the Lord. It is an oblation before the Lord. And thou shalt take the breast of the ram of Aaron's oblation, and uplift it, an elevation before the Lord, and it shall be thy portion. Jerusalem. The breast. And thou shalt consecrate the breast of the elevation and the shoulder of the separation, which have been uplifted and separated from the ram of the oblation, from the hand of Aaron and from the hand of his sons. And it shall be for Aaron and for his sons by a perpetual statute for the sons of Israel, because it is a separation. And a separation it shall be from the sons of Israel from the offerings of their consecration, the separation before the Lord. And the holy vestments of Aharon shall be to his sons after him, to be anointed in them, and in them to offer their oblations. 7 days shall the priest wear them, who ariseth after him from his sons, but not from the Levites, at the time when he entereth into the tabernacle of ordinance to minister in the sanctuary. And thou shalt take the ram of the oblation, and boil its flesh in the holy place, and Aharon and his sons shall eat the flesh of the ram, and the bread that is in the basket at the door of the tabernacle of ordinance. And they shall eat those things by which atonement was made for them in offering their oblations to sanctify them to minister before me. But the profane shall not eat, for they are holy. And if any of the flesh of the oblation and of the bread remain until the morning, thou shalt burn the root which remaineth with fire, it shall not be eaten, for it is sacred. And thus thou shalt do to Aharon and to his sons according to all that I have prescribed to thee. 7 days thou shalt offer their oblation. And a bullock for a sin offering thou shalt offer daily for atonement, and shalt anoint the altar in offering the atonement upon it. Thou shalt anoint it, to consecrate it. 7 days make thou atonement upon the altar to consecrate it, and it shall be the altar of the Holy of Holies. Every one of the sons of Aharon who approacheth to the altar must be holy. To the rest of the people it is not lawful to approach, lest they be burned with the fiery flame which cometh from the holy place. And this is the oblation which thou shalt perform upon the altar, 2 lambs of 1 year, daily, evermore. The 1 lamb thou shalt perform in the morning, and the 2nd lamb thou shalt perform between the evenings. And the 10th of flour mingled with oil of olives beaten with the 4th of a hina, and the libation of a 4th of a hina for the 1 lamb. And the 2nd lamb thou shalt perform between the evenings. It shall be as the mincha of the morning. And as the libation thou shalt do it, to be received with acceptance. An oblation before the Lord, a perpetual holocaust for your generations at the door of the tabernacle of ordinance before the Lord, where I will appoint my word to meet thee there, to speak with thee there. And there I will appoint my word to meet with the sons of Israel, and I will be sanctified in the rulers for my glory. And I will sanctify the tabernacle of ordinance and the altar, and Aharon and his sons will I sanctify to minister before me. And my Shekinah shall dwell in the midst of the sons of Israel, and I will be their God. And the sons of Israel shall know that I am their God, who led them out free from the land of Mizraim to make my Shekinah dwell among them. I am the Lord their God. XXX. And thou shalt make an altar on which to burn incense of perfumes. Of cedar wood shalt thou make it. 1 cubit its length, and 1 cubit its breadth, 4 square shall it be. And 2 cubits its height. And its upright horns shall be of it. And thou shalt overlay it with pure gold, its top, and its wall round about, and its horns, and make for it a border of gold round about. And 2 golden rings make thou for it beneath its border at the 2 corners. Thou shalt make upon its 2 sides to be the place for the staves by which it may be carried. And thou shalt make the staves of cedar wood, and cover them with gold. And thou shalt place it before the veil which is over the ark of the testimony, before the mercy seat that is upon the testimony, where I will appoint my word to be with thee. And Aharon shall burn sweet incense upon it from morning to morning. When he ordereth the lamps, he shall burn it. And when Aharon kindleth the lamps between the evenings, he shall burn sweet incense perpetually before the Lord in your generations. Thou shalt not offer thereon the sweet incense of strange peoples, nor offer upon it burnt offerings, or minches, nor pour libations. And Aharon shall expiate upon its horns once in the year with the blood of the sin offering for an expiation. Once in the year shall he make atonement upon it on the day of atonement in your generations. It shall be most holy before the Lord.